What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the very first Draft Degenerates video on the Draft Degenerates channel. It's new, it's here. I'm excited. Toby's excited, I
Very,
think.
very
Uh,
excited.
and uh, and we hope that you guys are excited as well. Speaking of excited, we are joined by a very special guest. Um, you know him, you tolerate him. It's WakemanVGC. He's here, he's chilling. As you all know, due to him constantly bringing it up,
Oh my
this
god.
is the winner of Empoleon division in the GLDL. It was a very, very stacked division, and so getting the win was no easy feat. It was a very impressive season to watch, and so we wanted to get him on here, talk to him about it, see what's up, because it was pretty rad, and I think everybody would love to get a little more insight into that.
Yeah,
And I
everybody would love to hear more insight from him instead of just bragging, Like
Just
maybe
like, I
actually,
won. I'm cooler
yeah,
than
like
you.
we get
You're
it,
you
Wake.
brag. We get it. You won.
You won. How about you tell us how you
I'm,
won?
I'm never living this down. I didn't even do anything and I'm never living it down. Like what?
Alrighty. Well, Wakeman, if you wouldn't mind by starting out by telling us how you felt about at the beginning of the season, your initial draft, if it worked out for you, and how it changed throughout the season as you made certain transactions, and how you think it ended up at the end. If you think it was better overall than when it started, or
Yeah, so I felt really good about my initial draft. It had some pieces like obviously the core of like Cinderace, Venu, Rotom, Ninetales, stuck around all season, and I felt really good about that core. Kind of a four-mon fire water grass core almost. But and then I was really happy to get a Trick Room mode of like Guzzlord, Aromatisse, Berserker. I felt like getting my fantasy core all being like Trick Room Mons made the TR mode and the fantasy core a little more cohesive. Um, and then yeah, I mean my low tier picks were kind of like whatever, like they were like Drizzile and Throw. Drizzile was pretty much here's a mon that does something. Um,
yeah,
and Throw was like it's decent value in the tier. I didn't have a fighting type. It worked okay under Trick Room. Tauros 2 was like good value, but nothing like super crazy. But I felt good about it overall.
good.
Yeah. Clearly, it
And
worked out for
I
you.
mean, yeah, obviously it worked. So I guess before we go into the next question, the main topic of kind of leading into the next question is what transactions do you feel like were particularly important to the result of games throughout your season? Like obviously the Guzzlord and Tauros drop, and what did you trade for Guzzlord and Tauros? I don't remember. I really don't.
It's hard because I traded a bunch of things and then like picked up new things just to drop them like a week later.
You had
I
a lot of transactions.
had a lot of trades and most of them kind of were wasted, but I mean, so basically, let's see here. So I dropped Tauros for Xatu
Okay.
because I wanted Tailwind, and I was like, oh, I don't have a Psychic type or a Flying type. I need Tailwind. That works. And in Tier 4, I felt like it was good value. Well, then I reach out to Wolf, and I'm like, there's no way he's gonna do this, but it's worth asking. Because the other thing I was missing on the initial comp was a Intimidate deterrent, like a Defiant or competitive user. And so I'm like, yo, I have these tier 3s. Will you trade any of them for Guzzlord or for Braviary? And I'm like, there's no way he's gonna say yes, right? But he said, yeah, I'll take Guzzlord. I'm like, okay, bet. And I was kind of bummed because I really wanted to use Guzzlord. It was kind of one of those picks too that was like, I could have taken Dragalge or Drampa in the same tier, which were both probably better, but I just kind of like wanted to use Guzzlord, But I was like, I can't pass that up. I think I got Braviary for, was it week 2 or 3? It was early in the season.
I think it was week 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then trying to remember. And then there were a bunch of like back and forth. Like I dropped Tauros for Xatu and then picked up Greedent later, which made Rolo mad. And then I dropped Greedent for Druddigan.
And made Rolo even more mad.
And then I dropped Greedent for Druddigan, which made Rolo mad and Hunter mad because he was going to take Druddigan.
Too slow.
But I would say that the two main trades that really made a difference were the Braviary pickup and the Cryogonal pickup.
Yeah.
The Cryogonal pickup was
specifically for me.
Timed very well.
Specifically for me.
Yeah, because I didn't have an ice type going into, because I had your team with Lando T, and then I had Jaden's Garchomp team the week after. I don't even know if I brought Cryogonal into him, but
you didn't.
Nope.
Just
me. You.
Just me.
But I mean, yeah, I'd say those two. Braviary also didn't come that much. And then I made a playoff trade, dropping Druddigan for again. I brought it to one game and then dropped it. And I picked up Manectric, which didn't come, but I think still helped me because it deterred Bolton from coming. But yeah, I felt like those were the two main ones that made a difference.
I was gonna say, I see Manectric on here with a grand total of 0 games participated.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, Cryogonal was a really good pickup because I legitimately, when looking at our matchup, was like, oh my gosh, Lando T might actually just win me this set. And then the day before we're supposed to fight, you're like, oh, I'm picking up Cryogonal. Sorry.
Yeah, because that was the week where we extended it a day for like a regional or something. And so then, and we were playing early.
Yeah.
Like, I think the week ended Monday and we played Tuesday or something like that.
It's fine.
Wednesday, something like that, yeah.
It's fine. And then didn't even bring it the rest of the season, just for me. I should feel special.
It came in my 6 versus Dina in week 10.
Fair
but
enough.
It didn't actually come
do
to
anything,
game.
though.
That is true.
Just think about it this way. Your team was so good and you're so goated that he had to get one brand new Pokemon just for you.
Should I be Should I be like complimented or embarrassed that a Cryogonal is what did me in?
I don't think we can move on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, then I guess the key to winning a league season is to trade literally everything on your comp, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing was, like, my final roster wasn't even that different from my original roster. It's just I made so many, like, in-between trades getting to that point.
Yeah.
It does look very similar to what it was when it started.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So, when you were, like... Obviously, you did very well in all aspects of things throughout the season, playing, team building. But, like, in team building specifically, did you have any specific, like, combos or pairings of Pokemon that just, like, they always came together because, like, they felt like they were too good to separate? Like, obviously, you had Ninetales, Venusaur. That's boring. We've been there. But, like, aside from that, was there anything that you got to be separate and then you were like, oh, these are, like, perfect partners?
That's a hard question. I genuinely don't know because, like, I was actually gonna say Venu Ninetales didn't even feel like an inseparable pair for me this season. Like, there were at least, like, I'm looking here, there was one week where I didn't bring Ninetales, but I did bring Venu. But a lot of weeks I set Sun with like a Max Cinderace or with Purloin Sunny Day, just because it like made some flow charting a little easier, or like Ninetales was kind of like in the matchup.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'd say probably maybe Purloin Cinderace. I mean, Purloin plus anything this season was like just really good. I underestimated how good Purloin would be on the comp. It turned out to be a really, really good glue piece on the team. Cinderace Braviary felt really good. I brought it quite a few times. I think I only brought it to a game once, but I brought it in my 6 a lot.
Yeah.
And Like I think I brought it in my 6 like 4 or 5 times.
So-
So like, sorry, what was that?
No, sorry. Keep going.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so that was a good one too, even if it didn't see a ton of play. But I'd probably say if I had to choose like one combo, it would be probably the Cinderace Purloin.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I think my answer would have been probably Cinderace Braviary or Cinderace Purloin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Specifically because I think Purloin just needs to be moved up a tier. I think that thing's
Yeah.
being undervalued.
It will be. Well, depending on how the format changes.
Well,
It
right.
will probably be higher.
It's all new Pokemon.
Yep.
I mean, I'm speaking my truth. That's what I've learned, especially from having it in UDL. Is like Purloin is
It's really good.
it's strong.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of in the same vein of combos, is there anything that like turned out to be like unintentionally really good for you on your comp, or like any Pokemon that surprised you with how well it performed? Any combo that surprised you with how well it performed?
I mean, I guess like Purloin is probably the boring answer there, because like again, I knew it would be good, but I didn't know I would bring it to every week except 2 and have it be like, I think it was tied with Cinderace for most brought or close to it. No, it was tied with Ninetales.
Tied with Ninetales.
17, yeah. So it came so much, and so like that's probably the boring answer. The more fun answer would probably be, weirdly enough, Aromatisse, because like I didn't bring it that often. I brought it in my 6 quite a bit, but it only came to 5 games. Oh, actually, I only brought it in my 6 to like 4 or 5 weeks, but it just was super good into like, because the top core I drafted was pretty Trick Room weak, and like the Trick Room core I initially drafted of like Guzzlord, Aromatisse, Berserker was like good, but not like crazy, like I'm gonna kill everything with it. And so most of the TR mons that got drafted in the division were like Glastrier, Mudsdale. I am like kind of blanking on the rest, but there were like a lot of like physical ones.
Yeah.
Escav. So I like, it was nice to have something that would just like sit there. It could underspeed and it could charm. I even ran it with Iron Ball to charm Escav. But like, yeah, so even though that didn't come that much, I felt like the deterrent, and I didn't have to play. There were quite a few teams with really strong Trick Room modes that just didn't bring Trick Room against me.
Yeah.
Like Raz, you didn't bring Trick Room against me. I'm trying to think. Dina did bring Trick Room against me in semis, but not in week 10, which might have been information preservation. I can't really say, but I would probably say Aromatisse, kind of the hidden boss.
Oh no, I can agree with that. That Trick Room
So-
deterrent was strong.
Yeah. So then on the exact opposite end of that, not hidden bosses. I think it would be fair to say that probably if you had to name like an MVP for the team, it would probably obviously be Cinderace, if I had to guess. And I think out of like everyone, you're probably like uniquely qualified to like speak on that mon. I know you're writing a manifesto at the moment.
Yeah, it's coming. It's still in progress. I'm at like 34 slides now or something,
Jesus.
Holy shit.
and still
Um,
going.
Jeez. But yeah, I mean, I think most of why it's good is relatively self-explanatory. It's fast, it's strong, and it has stab on literally everything. But it seems like there are some aspects of it that a lot of people don't get to experience. So like specifically, I think in terms of team building, it's something that not a lot of people have seen. Especially like me, I'm like, yeah, it's a fire type, and so I want to like mentally include it in a fire water grass core, but really it's any type.
Hmm.
And so like what's the experience with that, and how does it like assist you um in more like behind the scenes stuff? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you. Um, so I do have to preface this with I actually would probably say Purloin was my MVP, um, over Cinderace, but I will still answer the Cinderace question.
Fair
Um,
enough.
I So the thing with Cinderace, this was my third season using it, and I'm using it a fourth time in UDL right now. I The nice thing with it on this comp in particular was like pretty much everything that you'd want to like click into Cinderace was covered really well by Rotom, and then just in general, like I had also Rotom was like really good at deterring Max Quakes and Max Steel Spikes because it's immune and 4 times resist respectively. So like that was really nice. But I mean, just like having that offensive coverage, paired with like having 2 other mons that cover electric, water, grass, which are like 3 of the ones it doesn't get, just proved to be super good. And I was just able to run. I had multiple pieces on the team that like really accelerated its damage output. Like I could set Sun. I ran Howl Ninetales twice. I had Steely Spirit Berserker, which helped me hit Steel Spike Calcs. Stuff like that. I had Helping Hand Rotom. I think I only brought that like once or twice. But I'd say like the main reason it did so well was just that like the threats were so diverse that like you could prep for one thing and then like Cinderace would just come in and like kill whatever you had to cover Venusaur or whatever. And I just felt like the synergy of the Firewater Grass core was like one of the best I've ever drafted.
It was very good.
Mhm.
Yeah. No kidding.
Well, if that is all you have to say about your soccer bunny, then we will move on. Cinderace Manifesto coming soon.
It is coming soon.
Keep an eye out.
Keep an eye out. But I want to know if you had any particular matchups in playoffs and in the regular season, if they were particularly difficult for you on paper to prep against, and if they were, like what you did to counter them, how you prepped and played around that difficult matchup.
Short answer would be no. And that is not me tooting my own horn. That's
We
just
get
me
it,
saying,
Wake, you won.
and that's just me saying the team was just good enough that I like. You know how like even if you have a really good team, like a lot of the times, at least in my experience, right? Like I'll draft a good team, and then I'll have one week where I'm like, damn, I have nothing for X Mon. I just gotta hope they don't lean on it, or I gotta hope I can get lucky around it or something.
Yeah.
And I genuinely didn't feel like that a single week this season. Like I genuinely felt like every single week I had an answer for almost everything. I'd say probably one of the harder things for me on paper was Offensive Thunderous from Dina in week 10 was kind of hard because I didn't have a rock type. My ice type was Cryogonal. And my water type doesn't get ice coverage. So I kind of had like very limited ways to hit it.
Yeah.
I think I just ended up kind of like maxing Rotom and just like chipping it down with neutral hits. But I'd say that's probably the closest thing. But like even then I was able to make it work both times I played Dina. So yeah, I'm not sure. It's feels weird to say no, but like really looking back, I can't think of anything that was particularly rough.
Yeah. So you're just invincible. Yeah, we get it.
The team was invincible, not me.
Yeah, it was a very well constructed draft, which is why obviously it got number 4 in PRs.
Absolutely.
Hey man, that was partly my own ranking too.
Well,
and in me and Ryan's defense, I think that the Braviary pickup moved it up significantly.
I think so.
Adding, because my main problem with it was I didn't have Tailwind and I didn't have Defiant, so I got both of those. But
Yeah, I don't super disagree with the placement, especially looking at some of the other teams
yeah,
that was like comparing it to. But man, just like it's so it looked and felt so flexible that it's like, man, you know?
yeah, for sure.
The possibilities were endless, to be honest.
Yeah, straight up. Um, so did you have? We can cut that out, right? We can get rid of that.
Sure,
Thanks,
yeah,
Bobby.
absolutely. I will
Yeah.
totally cut that out.
I don't believe you even a little bit. And
I edit every single video. I don't know what you're talking about.
I hate you. Anyway, so out of all the matches that you played this season, which was more than almost anyone, did you have a favorite, like, um, one that was fun to team build for and fun to play? And if you did, who was it against and also why?
That's a tough one. I feel like, man, that is a hard question because I didn't. There weren't any like I had some really good games. The first part of my season was like, it was most of the games weren't that close, and so like they weren't like super standouts to me. But like, after I lost to Jaden in week 5, well. Starting week 8 and on, I think every single game I played was a 3-game set, which opposed to before that, I think only me versus Jaden was a 3-game set, which I lost. I mean, it's hard to not say finals just because, like, you know, it's the most on the line. I felt like that was probably the most creative I got with team building, which that season, which still isn't saying that much because I brought pretty normal shit like pretty much the whole season, but the Scarf Cinderace was kind of a gambit that I took and it worked out really well. But like it feels like a cop out to say finals, but I'd probably have to go with that because it, even despite the stakes, it was a really good set still.
Yeah,
For sure. I can agree with that. So other than like a favorite match this season, what was your favorite overall just part of GLDL this season? Like, doesn't even have to be battle related or draft related. Like, what was going on during season 1 that just stood out to you? Like, what did you like?
Season 2 is what he meant.
Season
to say.
2.
This shut up. Season 2.
I think probably a better question was like what wasn't going on during season 2.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, you know, it really was just like the community, because I mean, obviously, like running the server, I was really happy with how season 1 went. Like, it was really competitive in all 3 divisions. There were a lot of good people. We filtered out some of the people we didn't want around. And like I felt like it was a success. But this season, just in terms of like level of competition, we got some new people from other leagues who were very good and did very well. And then we had just, you know, the voice chats started happening, and a lot of the kind of core group of the league started to form, and we all got closer and stuff. So like I think it has to be the community. Yeah, that's the short answer there. I could go on, but
You could go on.
You could.
You could.
I mean,
We like being complimented.
True.
No, I mean, yeah, it's just the community. I don't have much more to say without like just ranting on, but
Fair enough. Fair enough. That would be my answer too, for the record. Well, then the other thing I'd want to talk about is, obviously, you've already touched on it a little bit, as it is your favorite matchup in the season, the finals match versus Hunter. Walk us through a little bit about how you prepped for it, what adjustments you made after facing Hunter in the regular season, what went well when you were prepping for him, what didn't, how the match went down for you. Did you expect it to go down that way, or?
okay. So first off, I felt like I feel like the main thing I want to talk about here is the Scarf Cinderace, because it was
For sure.
very different from any Cinderace set I brought in the rest of the season. Pretty much every other Cinderace set I brought, except maybe one, was kind of intended to max.
Yeah.
No, actually, all of them were, because even the one I brought with like coaching and Sash was like supposed to be like a switch up max type thing next to Braviary.
Yeah.
So like this one was like it could still max and like do okay, but it wasn't really intended to. And pretty much like just wearing the scarf allowed it to like outspeed Unburden boosted Slurpuff and outspeed Rain boosted Ludicolo, which then means I'm outspeeding all of his Scarfers. Which he ended up bringing Scarf Raichu with Volt Switch, which could have been really annoying, but once he saw I had Scarf Cinderace, he literally just couldn't bring it.
Right.
Because I was faster, plus, and Raichu was my main worry, because I was like, oh, once he sees Scarf, he'll just fake me out. So I didn't even know it was Scarf because he never brought it in the games, but he told me afterwards it was Scarf. It was just super good because I could lead next to like most of the team, and then something could switch in and I could kill something pretty freely. Like I could switch in Berserker next to it and Iron Head either the Lele or the Slurpuff to kill it. I could switch in, or I could U-turn into the flowchart was that I had like prepped for was U-turning into Ludicolo. He didn't bring Ludicolo, so I think I ended up clicking into Lele instead. And then, because it's the fastest, then I get to pivot in Ninetales and click something with Venu.
Yeah.
Or in front of the Rain lead, I could just like snarl something, since like Ludicolo at -1 doesn't hit that many calcs.
Right.
And I was living. Once I changed to Dark type, I was living a Max Geyser too. So like that was a really nice thing. So it just had a lot of options, a lot of flexibility. And I felt like that was the main point of the matchup that went well in like prep.
Yeah.
The other thing was I put Cobra Berry on Venusaur this time because he clicked Helping Hand Airstream into me last time and I just died.
Yeah.
I think it might have been a crit too, and I wasn't sure if the crit mattered or not. I think in hindsight it did, but I put Cobra Berry on it and I was running defensive calcs and I was like, wow, like this just he could get like 2 beast boosts and if I maxed he still wouldn't kill me. So because I mean Steela's offenses aren't that strong, and he was weakness policy, which complicated things a little bit. But that would lead to the next thing was this was the first time I brought like a trick Purloin set the entire season, and it did like a lot of work because he was able to Airstream, he was able to spam string shots with Slurpuff, and it didn't matter because like I could just trick a Lagging Tail onto the threat, which was Steela, both games that I brought it. I stole its weakness policy so I could then hit it with max flares. And like just a Slurpuff, I don't care. Like,
Right.
Like the Slurpuff is the fastest thing on the field, and it's like clicking Dazzling Gleams in front of like 4 Fairy Resists, so it's like, so I wasn't too worried about that. The main difference in the matchup was, when we played Week 9, he had Thievul, and he swapped it for Slurpuff because he wanted speed control. But I actually felt like and he didn't even bring the Psychic Terrain mode into my team in Week 9, which I was really surprised by. I had a whole lot of prep for it, like White Herb, Venusaur, and what was it? Red Card Ninetales and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then that that didn't work out. But him trading it for Slurpuff meant that my Venu could go before Slurpuff under the sun, which was like a huge difference in the matchup, right? Because now he no longer had the option to Snarl me or Mud Shot me or Parting Shot me or whatever into me, right? And so I could always, it just made my flowcharts a lot easier, because like game 3, right? Like I led Ace Venu, he led side terrain mode, right? Like if
Yeah.
he has Thievel um and Lele there, nothing is guaranteed because he's outspeeding both Scarf Cinderace and Venu under the sun
Yeah.
with Thievel. But because he didn't have Thievel and he had Slurpuff, which is a good deal slower, I was able to, pivot really freely with the Scarf Cinderace, and, weather gave me good speed control. I still don't think it was like a bad matchup or a bad call for him to pick it up. It made that part of the matchup easier, but it made the fact that he now had speed control, that was a lot harder for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd say those were the main things. I brought like Sash, Sunny Day, Ninetales. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I'd say those were the main things. Like, and I leaned more on Venu now that I had Koba Berry.
Yeah.
I leaned more on Venu than I did in week 9. But other than that, those are probably the major differences.
Yeah. I will comment to Hunter's credit on the Slurpuff. I think it was game 3 for the finals match. That Steelo was asleep, and I thought it was basically over. And that Slurpuff pulled out the aromatherapy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, he's still in this.
I have never had a larger like oh shit moment in my entire time playing draft matches. Like that happened and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Which like it worked out because I still got 1 turn of sleep off and that's kind of all I needed.
Yeah.
But like it was still like, whoa, that was good. I was really glad he didn't read the sleep powder the turn before and click it, because I would have just been over, because he would have just killed my Venu. But that's a risky play, so I get why he didn't.
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, that was great prep on his part.
Great
The
prep
tech
from both of
meta
you.
was so good.
It was so good.
It was great to watch. I love that set.
I will say that final set is probably my favorite match that I've watched so far that I haven't participated in. I was like back and forth like, oh, Wake's gonna win. No, Hunter's gonna win. No, Wake's gonna win. Oh my god, it's got aromatherapy. Oh god, Cinderace critted.
Yeah,
All kinds
it's yeah. Well, there was a point because game 1, I think it was close, but I was like in a losing position most of the game.
Yeah.
And game 2, I was in a losing position for a huge part of the game, and then I got a sleep powder off and kind of turned it around. And there was a point like halfway through game 2 where I was almost like, yeah, all right, good games, bro. I'm done. Because I really thought I was out. I don't remember what point. I think the sleep powder was what like turned it around for me mentally.
Yeah.
But obviously, I mean, I didn't mentally check out too much, right? Because I was able to keep my head in it. But that was, yeah, it was a roller coaster of emotions.
I was on the edge of my seat for most of that fight. I will not lie.
Now I want to rewatch it.
I was about to say that talking about it makes me want to go back and rewatch it.
It was a good set. It's one of the better ones I've participated in for sure.
Very good. Well, Wakeman, that's all we have on paper for you, but if you had any closing comments, anything else you wanted to touch on, we would love to hear from you.
I don't not particularly really. I gotta shout out Flamingo/Wade. I've already shouted him out a million times for this, but he helped me run mocks and prep pretty much every week except one. The entire season, so like thank you, Wade. But yeah, other than that, I don't think so. Thanks for having me on here and listening to me brag about my win again.
Well, of course. I mean, obviously we get it, you won, but if you don't brag to somebody, you'll explode.
True. I mean, I can't not hear about it, so might as well do it on my own terms or whatever.
Exactly. We might as well be making content out of it, is all I'm saying.
You're not wrong.
You're right.
Well,
yeah, so I think that's going to be it from us, unless Toby has anything he wants to go over.
We're cool. That's all I have to say.
That's true. We are pretty cool. Toby's channel, Wakeman's channel, my channel will all be down in the description. Make sure you check those out. But check out Wakeman's first, because seriously, if you haven't seen that finals match, you have to go
You've
watch
got
it,
to.
like, for sure. So do yourself a favor, go check that out. Do yourself a favor, check out Toby's channel. If you want to check out my channel, it's fine.
Do yourself a favor and check out
Do
Raz's
yourself a
channel.
favor. Yeah, please, come on.
Um, but yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. That's going to be it from us. I've been Raz, and Toby has been Toby.
Always.
And we will see you guys in the next video.
Bye.